As the Easter weekend approaches, the Department of Transport has launched its annual Arrive Alive campaign, a crucial initiative aimed at curbing the tragic loss of life on our roads. Transport Deputy Minister Mkhuleko Hlengwa has highlighted some alarming trends contributing to road fatalities. This includes the dangerous rise of content creation behind the wheel. He also reiterated that the persistent issue of drinking and driving remains a significant factor in accidents. Let's bring the Deputy Minister Mkhuleko Hlengwa into this conversation now as well. Then, Deputy Minister, appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Let's start off, if I may, with the situation around content creation, not because it's brand new, but certainly because this is the first sort of formal indication then by the department that this is a worry and a concern for them. Other than just scrolling through some social media accounts, does the department have any sort of statistics when it comes to the impact and the prevalence content creation behind the wheel has had on road fatalities and accidents?
Well, in the first instance, we have picked up that it's not just the driver texting or being on a call, but also the passengers themselves wanting to take videos, particularly along the lines of vacations or just many other interaction. And so the distraction to move your eye away from the road onto the camera, which is adjacent to you in the passenger seat. Secondly, of course, is texting and driving. Also is then the fact that at times people may be in traffic and therefore the default position is to want to scroll on social media platforms. You will then see this after people posting their interactions, having taken videos. Where it has become a problem, obviously, is that one, the distraction of about 5 seconds lapse whilst you are on your phone does disrupt your response time to whatever's happening in your environment. Secondly, the insurance companies have pointed to the fact that as they process claims, they are now also wanting to look at your cell phone usage, what you are doing at the time of the accident. And it is fast becoming a trend as to that people are distracted. The use of cell phones forms part and parcel of about the 50% of accidents which are arising out of driver misbehavior on the road. So doing the things that you are not supposed to be doing. So distraction is a major challenge. So what we are saying is that as a driver, one, you drive your own vehicle. Secondly, you drive every other vehicle around you. And thirdly, you drive your environment. So you need to be alert. And so particularly on major holidays such as this one and the festive season, it is really our warning specifically, but generally when you are behind the steering wheel, do not make use of your cell phone. So it arises out of a broader observation of things that we are picking up on the roads. And so what I want to reiterate really is to say it's the drivers and the passengers, so that we can be able to give the correct warning that everybody in the vehicle must assist the driver able to completion.
Deputy Minister, stopping short of sitting on social media and ultimately trying to scour through the millions and millions of accounts that there are and finding those that are ultimately doing this, how exactly can we and do you plan on cracking down on things like cell phone usage? Is it just going to be dependent on insurance companies when accidents happen? Because ultimately, by then it's ultimately too late.
Well, it actually starts with me as a driver. It starts with you as a driver. And so we are saying this year, as part of our campaign, it starts with me. That's point number one. So hence we are continuously reiterating the message around driver behavior, ensuring that you do the right thing. Secondly, as we review the National Road Safety Strategy, which we intend on tabling to Cabinet by the end of this year, so that we can update it from the 2016-2030 version, we are building in new thinking and innovations around how do we make use of technology, broadened communication and campaign, and obviously the consequence management that has to come with it. It is about our heightened patrolling, visible policing on the roads, which will then have the consequence of actually being fined or cell phone confiscation, amongst others, as the Western Cape is currently doing if you are caught with your cell phone in your hand. Durban, eThekwini Metro is employing a similar thing. So we will obviously be putting together a basket of responses to the kind of usage that we are seeing. Secondly, of course, is the Easter weekend campaign that we are doing started on the 20th of March because there was the Human Rights Day long weekend, and we are going to be straddled with this up until the end of the weekend of Workers' Day. So over the 6 weeks, we've got heightened visible policing. We have deployed the National Traffic Police to beef up the capacity of provinces and municipalities, particularly on the 20 priority routes. We have engaged with the major churches and religious organizations about the travel patterns and travel plans of their pilgrims to the various places of worship over this weekend so that we can deploy correctly. We then want to reiterate the basic messages which must be part and parcel of the national conversation.
Sure.
They must be a don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Don't drink and walk. 44% of our fatalities are actually pedestrians, and rest every 2 hours and every 200 kilometers, and plan your trips on time, which then lastly brings me to this. You would have heard the warnings coming out from the weather services, particularly around KwaZulu-Natal, and we want to encourage all travelers and commuters and taxi and bus operators to plan trips on time in order for them to be able to be safe on the roads, particularly because of the weather conditions which are upon us.
Deputy Minister, are we losing the fight, though, against road safety? And I ask just because there's another side to this. According to the Institute for Security Studies, 6 of the 9 national surveys conducted since 2003 that asked about bribery identified traffic police as the government service most frequently linked to corruption. Now, I know it's not necessarily your portfolio, but it is traffic police that link with transport that ultimately can create an environment of enforcement and greater visible policing. Is it happening a little bit more because people feel emboldened because they feel like they can get away with these traffic offences?
Well, in my previous life as SCOPA chair, when we would speak about corruption, I would say that we as citizens on the day-to-day, when we engage in bribery, we have effectively engaged in corruption, which continues to erode the body fabric of the state and the administration, and therefore it is a prevalent and inherent risk to road safety and to the broader aspects of governance in the country. So certainly as part of us responding to the ecosystem of the challenges around road safety, we are saying we must look more closely at the issue of bribery and engaging with the traffic law enforcement officers, the 22,000 that we have, including the just 1,000 which are part of the National Traffic Police. So the corruption around briberies remains one of the issues we're looking at, but it's part of the broader ecosystem. So when you are speeding, that's not the traffic officer, that's yourself.
Sure.
When you are drinking and driving, drinking and walking, that's not the traffic officer, that's yourself. They come in as a deterrent, but when the deterrent doesn't work, obviously we need to plug into that. And so when the Minister of Police speaks about body cameras, we certainly in the traffic law enforcement...
Deputy Minister, I'm so sorry. I've only just run out of time, and that's the reason why I'm interrupting. So my apologies on that. But what measures would you consider here? Because you're quite right. It is up to the driver. It is up to the passenger ultimately to ensure that this is a safe environment when it comes to driving. But when it comes to then enforcement, and I say this again because drivers, passengers, etc., could feel more emboldened to not, ultimately obey the rule of law because they feel like they can get away with it. Should we perhaps be considering things like body cameras, a demerit system, license revoking, suspension of those licenses, reinforcement classes? Could all of those not be a little bit of a more suitable way to deal with those that are found to be in the wrong?
Well, as I was saying, that as the Minister of Police speaks about body cameras, that is certainly an initiative I believe we need to plug into as part of our own oversight, as part of our own ecosystem in traffic law enforcement. Secondly, what Minister Creasy and I have directed the Road Traffic Infringement Agency to do is to relook at the regulations around ARTO to make sure that there's heightened levels of personal consequence insofar as hitting the pocket, and more stringent consequences insofar as demerit is concerned. And lastly is to say we want to create further plugins for oversight within e-Natus system to make sure that even if you run away from us for the rest of the year, but when you have to renew your driver license, you must actually be paid. So it's also about hitting the pocket, and those measures will be expressed fully as we roll out ARTO. So we are certainly on the same page on the thinking in which you are putting forward.
Deputy Minister, unfortunately we have run out of time, but thank you so much for it.